All right, Jenks, so we have a doubleheader on Monday night with a couple of games popping off in the NFL. We've got Ravens Bucks, we've got Chargers Cardinals. So let's start in Tampa Bay. Ravens laying 3.5. We've got a total of 49.5. So what was your initial thought when you saw this line for the first time?
I like the Bucks in this game. It seemed a little too easy for me to go with the Ravens here. I think this is a good spot for Tampa Bay, is what I think, because the Ravens last week were all over the Commanders. But the one thing that you learn if you watch Commanders football is the Commanders are really physical. It's wild to watch. Like, I don't recognize this franchise at all. That's a very good thing. But that game against the Ravens was super, super physical. And I think when you come off a really physical game like that and you have to go on the road against a Bucks team that also, by the way, is really good, then I think that that's going to be tough. And you got a home dog getting more than a field goal. I kind of like Tampa Bay here.
I'm kind of split on this one because I feel like Tampa Bay has some injuries that are really hard to overlook in this one. Vita Vea, questionable, the defensive tackle that's one of the best at stopping the run. Not great when you're going against somebody like the Ravens, who are very good at running the football. And then Mike Evans has popped up on the injury report as well. That's not great. One of your best receivers. So I don't know for Tampa Bay. It's so difficult for me to go against the Ravens because when they look good, they look amazing. It's really hard to stop Lamar Jackson. We've seen King Henry have one of his best seasons ever. But you're right. It's the NFL. It's over a field goal. I just don't know. I feel like the Ravens either blow out people or they like lose outright to teams that they shouldn't lose to. Is there anything else that you like here? Like 49.5. Again, I feel like this one could go either way. Is there anything else popping out to you?
I like the over. I like the over in this game. I think it's going to be my one play tonight. There is one hockey game. We've got Lightning, Maple Leafs. Maybe I'll look at that. I haven't had time, but I think I would go to the over here. Initially, we saw some money coming on the under, but I think the over is the right side. And a couple things. We know that Todd Bowles loves to blitz. I think when he does, you're going to see Lamar Jackson take off a lot. Also, the Ravens are 5-1 to the over in their last 6 games. And then the one thing about Baltimore, their real weakness is their secondary. Like, they can give up a lot of points, but they score a lot of points. They've scored 28 against the Cowboys, 35 against the Bills, 41 against the Bengals, 30 against the Commanders. So I think they'll continue that scoring pace. But I also think Tampa Bay will be able to keep up because of the weakness in that Ravens secondary. So I'm going to go over.
I think that Tampa Bay is definitely going to have to throw the ball quite a bit because if you look at the Ravens defense, they have been incredibly stingy against the run. But, you know, Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, we know they can sling it a bit. It sucks that Mike Evans is a game time decision. Maybe that goes into looking at somebody like Chris Godwin over his reception, something like that. But still, I think it's just tough for me to go against the Ravens, even on the road here. I don't think there's a play that I especially love in this game, even from a prop standpoint. Like you mentioned going against the blitz, I feel like that's not even a great call against somebody like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody that can make you pay for added pressure on the quarterback is Lamar Jackson because he's one of the best running quarterbacks in the game. So I don't know how that translates for the Bucks here. But is there anything else from this game before we move on to the next one? Because I actually have a stronger feeling about the second game of this doubleheader. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't. Let's move on to your stronger feeling. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Yeah, strong feeling. What do you got?
Yeah, let's go with the Chargers over the Cardinals. This feels like a good spot for LA. If you look at the matchup, I'm somebody who's always betting on props. And the thing that jumps off the page is that the Cardinals have been terrible at defending the run. And you know what the Chargers love to do? They love to run the football. It's Harbaugh ball, baby. And normally I would see the Chargers in a tight spread and think, is this a Chargers team that I can trust in the second half? But it feels like a different squad now that Jim Harbaugh has gotten to, I was going to say San Diego, but LA. Cardinals feel like a team that's very banged up going into this one. Of course, they won't have their top receiver here in Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's a big blow. And so you look at the defense as well. The Chargers have been one of the best defenses in the NFL. I know they have not played a ton of really good offenses here, but this is a short spread. I think I'm just going to take the Chargers on the money line.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. It's my favorite pick of these two games. So we're on the same page here. And the Cardinals look like a mash unit right now. You mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr., but Evan Brown, Kazir White, Bilal Nichols, Sean Murphy Bunting, Star Thomas, all those guys are banged up. So we'll find out if they play or not. But, man, it's just one guy after the other. And then you look at that Chargers defense. This is one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Jim Harbaugh immediately putting his stamp on the Chargers, and you knew he's always been a defensive-minded head coach. L.A. is playing that way. Kyler Murray is 1-5 in his last 6 games in prime time, and that Cardinals defense is ranked 29th in the league, better only than the Cowboys, the Jags, and the Panthers. So I understand the Chargers offense doesn't do a whole lot, but they should be able to have enough success against the Cardinals defense to pull this out. So I'm with you. I'm on the Chargers money line.
Yeah, so if you like the Chargers money line, there are there's another prop play that I think kind of goes into the game script of this one. So if you think a team's going to win, if you think they're going to be leading the game, you look at rushing props for the lead rusher, and that's going to be J.K. Dobbins. His number is really high in this one, and I think for good reason, because we've seen running backs absolutely scorch the Arizona Cardinals. I was on this play last week for the Packers, had Josh Jacobs over his rushing yards. The only reason he didn't get it is because the Packers were winning by so much. That game was not even close, so they put in the backups. But before that game, we had running backs absolutely gashing this rush attack. Jordan Mason had 89 yards for the 49ers. Even for the Commanders, we had somebody with a big game, 101 yards for Brian Robinson Jr. So I feel like J.K. Dobbins is in store for a big game, even if he gets it, in the first half. 79.5, again, a really high number. But I feel like, the Chargers are going to be winning. J.K. Dobbins is going to be feasting.
Oh, I think that's a good play. I like the under in this game. It ticked up slightly, but I think the under might be the way to go. And one of the reasons I like it is because you talk about J.K. Dobbins, who's been one of those guys who's mentioned in the conversation for comeback player of the year now that he's finally healthy. But whenever you look at an under, you want time to be taken off the clock. Ideally, you have teams that like to run the ball. Arizona might want to throw it. The problem is, can they throw it now that Marvin Harrison Jr. is out and against this Chargers defense? And then conversely, the Chargers don't score a lot. They are averaging only 18 points per game. That is not good. They will keep it on the ground with J.K. Dobbins and then play great defense. They'll be methodical on offense. So I think a low-scoring Chargers win is what we see here.